Alright, so you guys, you know what this is. One villainous scene. You've seen Nando V movies video on it. You've seen the 100,000 other YouTubers that have jumped on this trend. This is not something new. Don't come into this like, oh gee, I have no idea what this is. The premise is super basic. You think about all the media you've consumed over the years. Well, think about your favorite time in TV, video game, or film where the bad guy did something pretty cool or did something that stuck with you, stuck out in your mind. I mean, for myself, immediately, I think about the dialogue between Batman and Owlman in Crisis on Two Earths, that wonderful DC animated film, where Batman has to try and find a reason not to kill his Earth 3 counterpart, as opposed to my favourite scene in video games where you've got the very first interaction between Commander Shepard and Sovereign in the Mass Effect franchise. I absolutely love that moment where he realizes that it's not a ship, it's an actual alien species the size of a spaceship. And this species does want to wipe out all life in the galaxy because as a mechanical species, they bring order to the chaos that is organic life. What a wonderful scene that is. Or from TV shows, my favourite villainous scene in a TV show has got to be the conversation between David Tennant's Doctor and his very first interaction with the new and shiny and minty fresh Master. What an absolutely fantastic scene to see two characters that haven't been together on TV in decades. This is before the reboot, finally have that moment together. There's something about these scenes, however, that, in my mind, I mean, other YouTubers have already talked about these before. There's something that I realised when I put them all out on the table and I looked at them. They're all basically the same. They're all completely different. They're all different genres, from superheroes to time traveling wizards to you know soap opera and space sci-fi. They're all completely different media, but the beats, the reason why I enjoy the scenes is all the same. And that's, you have the hero encountering a villain that is of one mind, dedicated in purpose, and they cannot sway them from that purpose, try as they might. And it's the realization that they're going to have to do something that they don't want to do. They're going to have to fight in a way they've never had to fight before. They're going to have to drag this out to the bitter end because that's the only way they're going to get through this. That wonderful clashing of titans, I absolutely adore it.
Don't you see? All we've got is each other.
Are you asking me out on a date?
You could stop this right now. We could leave this planet. We can fight across the constellations if that's what you want, but not on Earth.
Too late.
Why do you say that?
The drumming. Can't you hear it? I thought it would stop. It never does.
Never, ever stops. I feel the same way.
If we're really alike, you know this is wrong. You must have been a good man once.
No, not good. Never good. After all, I'm only human.
You're not even alive. Not really. You're just a machine, and machines can be broken.
Your words are as empty as your future. I am the vanguard of your destruction. This exchange is over.
So, realizing that my favorite villainous scenes are all basically the same scene, just with different context and different words, I had to think about other scenes that have stood out for me over the years, and one that I don't really think anyone's covered yet has got to be from season 2 of The Walking Dead, episode 7, Pretty Much Dead Already, where the character Shane tries to desperately snap everyone out of the sleepwalking that they've been doing up until this point. The realization that the world is screwed and they need to wake up to the reality that once you turn, you are gone. Now, before I get a little too far into this, I want to say that there are spoilers coming up, of course. I think because this show's been out for 10 years, I think I'm pretty safe to talk about and show spoilers. But besides that, if you've not watched The Walking Dead, season 1, 6 episodes, solid gold, go watch it. Season 2, pretty good, double the amount of episodes, but pretty good. Season 3, 4, 5, 6, and it goes on and on. That's your call. But if you don't want sponsors, go watch the second season. It is a genuinely good. Watch season 1, 6 episodes of solid gold, because they didn't know they were going to get any more seasons, so they went all out. But season 2 is pretty good. But I want to talk about Shane as a character. I want to talk about Enough. I want to talk about Pretty Much Dead Already as an episode. Because I think what stands out for me, and the realization I had when thinking about what for me stands out as a villainous scene, is that Shane's not really a bad guy. Second season, let's break this down. So our band of scruffy survivors have found, through accident, a farm that they want to live on. They've managed to come to some kind of arrangement with the man that owns the farm, Herschel, and they're able to stay there. They've put their camp there temporarily. But what they don't realise is that located on the farm is a barn, and inside it are all the zombies that so far Herschel and his family have encountered. But because they know who they were before they turned, they know them as people, they know them as friends and family and mom and daughter and son, they don't just kill them and burn the bodies. They tried storing them. They tried to keep them in a contained location, feed them chickens. They tried to, in a way, keep them comfortable, like you would someone who's sick. So, of course, the group discovers this and goes absolutely ballistic. Season 2 has a ton of moments which make you realise that the group is coming face to face with the grim reality of the situation, which is you will have to do things that you never thought you would ever do, never thought you'd be capable of doing in order to survive. When Shane finally busts the door open off the barn and they shoot all the zombies, they find the main plot point of the season, which was the missing girl, Sophia, daughter of one of the other main characters, who, up until this point, everyone presumed was missing, but still alive. Like, she could have made it. She might be cold, she might be alone, she might be afraid, she might not have eaten in a couple of days, but she was still alive. Realizing that she's not destroys them. But it also brings closure. Closure that wouldn't have happened unless they'd done that.
What the hell you do? She just back off. Why do your people have guns? Are you kidding me? You see what they're holding on to? I see who I'm holding on to. Nah, man, you don't. Just let us do this, then we can talk. What you want to talk about, Rick? These things ain't shit. They're not people. They're dead. Ain't got to feel nothing for them, because all they do, they kill. These things right here, they're the things that killed Amy. They killed Otis. They gotta kill all of us unless we do that. Hey, Herschel, man, let me ask you something. Could a living, breathing person, could they walk away from this? Stop! 3 rounds in the chest. Could someone who's alive, could they just take that? Why is it still coming? That's its heart. It's long. Why is it still coming? Shane, enough! Hey, you're right, man. That is enough. Enough! Risking our lives for a little girl who's gone! Enough! Living next to a barn full of things that are trying to kill us! Enough! Rick, it ain't like it was before! Now, if y'all want to live, if you want to survive, you gotta fight for it! I'm talking about fight right here! Right now! Take the snare pole!
I think the mad thing about Shane as a character is he goes off the deep end before season 2. He goes off the deep end back in season 1 where he tries to rape Laurie. Don't get me wrong, I do not care about Laurie as a character. I do not care much at all for her interactions. Once Shane dies, you realise just how unlikable Laurie was as a character. But in terms of his interactions past that, kills Otis, tries to kill Rick, kills off the person that enters their camp. No, it's the person that they save who had impaled his leg. He starts making decisions that, out of context, a lot of us would make. And I think that's what makes him such a powerful villain. Because we don't look at him and see some unknowable evil, some grand tactician and manipulator, or some alien from another planet. We don't see that. What we see is ourselves in the same situation. Because I want you to think about this for a minute. If a zombie apocalypse was real, and it was a do or die scenario, we would all become Shane. We would all shoot someone else in the leg so that we could escape from a zombie horde. The amount of content of films, TV shows, YouTube videos, video games that glorify zombie apocalypses. I mean, can any of you, hand on heart, look at what Shane does throughout the first and second season, other than the business with Laurie, other than the potential rape that nearly happened at the end of season 1, other than that? His actual interaction with the world, with the zombies, how he sees them, how he wants to protect against them. Can anyone look at that and go that you wouldn't do the same? Because I think the silly thing is, when you look at Shane as a character, when you look at how far off the reservation he goes, oh sure, there's the business with Laurie, and don't get me wrong, it's despicable. But I think the reason why he's so unlikable is the realization that in a zombie apocalypse, we are all Shane. We would all do very similar things. And following on from season 2, you look at season 3 and 4 in the prison, the questions that Rick starts to ask himself and ask other people who are new coming to the group. Yeah, he goes off the reservation as well. They all do. It's just Shane went off the reservation early. He adapted to that world early. The reason why the deaths of characters like Dale or Herschel are so painful is because they represented characters that were still hopeful in that world, that were still innocent, that still believed that there could be a cure, that people could get better if there were zombies, and not to just put them down like dogs. Whereas if you look at any zombie media now, you look at films, TV shows, video games, oh my goodness, we don't see them as people, do we? We see them as a threat, as a mob, as a thing to be put down, as, you know, make the base to fight off the zombies, make the impenetrable fortress, the traps, the gadgets, the zombie survival guide, the whatever. We don't think of them as people because they're not. They're just a monster. But if we were in that world, our very morals and viewpoints would be challenged. Now, I know part of the magic of The Walking Dead is the idea that in their universe, the concept of a zombie outbreak never entered their pop culture fiction. Like maybe they had references to the whole voodoo zombie thing back in the day in the 50s, but no modern, Night of the Living Dead or any of that ever took off. So they go into this scenario completely blind. The closest thing they have to compare it to is rabies and SARS and pandemics. They don't have the knowledge that we have.
I think it's time that we all start to just consider the other possibility.
We're not leaving Sophia behind.
I'm close to finding this girl. I just found a damn doll 2 days ago.
You found her doll, Daryl. That's what you did. You found a doll.
You know what the hell you're talking
look,
about.
I'm just saying what needs to be said here. Now, you get a good lead in the first 48 hours. Now, that don't matter. Let me tell you something else, man. If she was alive out there, saw you coming, all methed out with your buck knife, your geek ears around your neck, she would run in the other direction, man. All right, wait. Just stop.
But at the same time, because of that, they don't have the same mindset. They don't have the same understanding. And I think that's the silly thing. That's the silly thing when you get down to the nuts and bolts. We despise Shane. He's written to be an unlikable character. But he's not wrong. He's just woken up to the reality of that world sooner. But without the hope that things could get better. That the clock is ticking and that we're all going to die. That's why Shane is such a powerful villain. And that's why this scene is so good. Because you realise over time that Shane was a bad person, but he was also right. He was right about a lot of things, and you will encounter far worse characters. He also turns into a zombie and comes back in like 60 seconds. It's fairly incredible.
If you've convinced them to keep this guy alive, then I ain't gonna say a damn word about it, okay? But I'm telling you now, man to man, you're wrong. And when this guy kills somebody, I ain't gonna need to say anything because that blood, that's gonna be on you. You're wrong about this, Dale. You did wrong.
So there you go, that's my one attempt at getting in on a YouTube trend. Probably too late, but frankly I don't care. Thank you all for watching, and stay tuned for the next episode. Bye bye.